Hey everybody. For this episode, it's probably going to be a fire episode, meaning it's going to be 30 minutes or less. Super short, super quick. Just wanted to do something and hop on here, but I just wanted to talk about New Year's and the idea of setting goals and intentions and all of that stuff. And it's so funny because I feel like New Year's is this holiday where it gets so hyped up. And it was funny because I was talking about it with my therapist the other day, and she asked me how it was. And I was like, yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I told her I don't feel any different. And I don't think that people should celebrate in a way of, oh my God, I'm gonna change on this date. I'm gonna make all of these new goals and set them, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do it and all that stuff. And I think from my personal experience, I just have this strong aversion to goal setting because in my last corporate job, they really kind of honed it in you of we're doing monthly goals and your goals are gonna ladder up to this leader and that leader's goals are gonna ladder up to their leader. And it just becomes this cascading effect where everybody can see anyone's goals and we're gonna have this whole campaign around it. And I was like, oh my God. And it just gave me agita of every time I had to have these one-on-one meetings. It was like, oh, did I change my goal setting? Like all of this stuff. And so for me, it just creates this very like masculine structure type of way of you got to do good, or else if you fail, then you're bad. So it just creates this like shame spiral of not actually going towards it, especially like SMART goals, which is actually really good, especially if you're in rehab or whatever, of taking these very, very nuanced actions to help you get to where you want to be. But I think for long-term visioning, it does make sense to do, small types of actions and steps to get there. But in the long run, I just absolutely hate it. But it was funny because it's not funny. I don't know why I'm just like saying that all the time. But anyway, there's this trend going on, or there was this trend going on social media about your ins and outs. And so for mine, what did I want to focus on? I put like less red meat. I put no, like the out was saying yes to things that I actually mean no to. Stop saying yes to everything just because I want people to like me or I don't want to disappoint somebody, all of that stuff. But the biggest goal, I think, for me is really learning to release the comparison. Talk about it a lot in my content, to release the comparison. And I think ever since I switched into this whole like divine feminine type of niche, sacred feminine journey, I have been thinking like, oh, well, how do I measure up to these other people? Is it feminine enough? And it's interesting because my therapist, she and I have been working a lot on just my self-worth around coaching, which I think when you step into this business, step into any type of business, or even, when you're in the corporate world, a lot of your imposter syndrome starts to come up, especially when it's something that you haven't done that's new. And it's completely fucking normal. There's no way of bypassing it. Everyone's just walking around acting like they know their shit, but ultimately inside they're just like, oh my God, like freaking the fuck out. And so I just want you to know that you are not terminally unique. You are not special in a sense that no one else feels the way you do. I think that's why, and I'm totally going on a tangent here, I think that's why Taylor Swift has gained so much momentum and popularity, is because her songs, even the ones that aren't mainstream, are so undeniably relatable that's why everyone loves them, because she's so specific about people's experiences. And so to think that no one else has your experience, like just squash that out of your brain. And so I mean, for me personally, this whole idea of comparison is, looking at other people's social media or looking at their content, looking at their messaging and, just like comparing myself, thinking, am I feminine enough? And I've gotten to a point where I'm in my late 30s and I just always hear people talking about how when they're in their 40s, it's a decade where they just literally do not give a fuck. And it's almost like that happy new year parallel. Okay, when I get there, I'm going to feel like this. Or when the ball drops and the clock strikes midnight, I'm going to feel like this. I have all this fucking hope. I'm riding on this momentum and this rallying behind it. And do you feel any different? And I think that, and so I'm just like trying to embody this big energy, right? This big energy of, okay, of embodying, kind of like practicing that attitude that I'm supposed to have when you hit your 40s of not giving a fuck, And I'm a couple of years away from it, but it's interesting. And so it's just this thing of, not comparing myself. And so the steps that I took were, okay, I'm going to start unfollowing people in my industry. I'm just going to start unfollowing them and actually consume content that makes me feel good, not in a place of, oh my gosh, it feels bad. And there's actually a different way that you can reframe jealousy, right? You can reframe it towards inspiration, because ultimately at the end of the day, the positive, the upside, the other side of the coin is inspiration. And I learned in a recent class that I took of how you can reframe it. And so when you find someone that you covet their success, or you covet what they want, maybe you're scrolling and you're like, damn, this girl's getting married, or this girl bought a home, or this girl got a cush job, or this girl left her job, or I don't know, that girl looks like she's living her best life and she's sexy as fuck, and I want to be like that too. Like all these things that we covet, or even, that girl looks like she's totally herself and she never has any fears, or she doesn't even seem like she's not confident in anything. She always she looks like she's just having fun and so happy, by the way, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. You never understand what's going on beneath someone's social media, because it is just curated content to give you this fallacy of what their life is like. Just saying. And so anyways, you can turn that jealousy into inspiration, say to source, hey, you know what? I want that, but I want something more aligned to me. I want something better than that, but aligned to me. Thank you, source. Thank you for that inspiration. And so when you start to look at people, instead of attaching judgment and jealousy around what it is that they want, you can actually imagine them with a non-attachment, as if you're looking through a magazine of life, and these images are in 3D, and you're flipping through it, you're walking, and you're like, oh, okay, I love that. Eventually it obviously gets to it takes a while to get to that place of just having non-attachment, but that is a way to reframe it, of saying, source, I want that, but I want it aligned to me. And so it becomes unique to you. So it's not necessarily mimicking it and copying it, but making sure that it's unique to you and your own perspective and voice and story and vision and life. But anyways, I just wanted to share that gem. And so I've just been on this track of, okay, like that's the biggest out, is just, I don't want to compare myself to other people, especially on this path that I'm on. And, being someone who grew up as first generation, there are these things that happen in households where, and a lot of my clients, and the reason why I changed my tagline to guiding first gen women on their sacred feminine journey, is because I noticed a pattern. A lot of the clients that I was attracting were first gen. And I started noticing the different things, even though we're all from different cultures, different backgrounds, we all had this immigrant mentality of, we had to make it, we have to listen and defer to our elders, because our elders are highly respected. They know better than us. We have to listen to them. And there's no way that you can contest anything that they say, because there's a lot of wisdom with their years, like respect your elders. And so for me, coming from that environment of just really having to respect, my father and what he wanted in me, it just really created a dutiful daughter who just said yes without questioning anything. And someone that felt like I just felt like I had to do everything right. I had to be perfect, because if I wasn't perfect, then I would get yelled at, right? I just didn't want any attention from me, all of that stuff. And so because of that, it was like, okay, how can I do things correctly so that I don't have to feel any challenges? I don't have to feel any challenges, and I don't have to feel discomfort and all of these different things. And it was just like, oh, okay. Like I literally, like, buying programs is such a thing for me, especially like knowing strategy, especially knowing frameworks of how to do certain things. And it got to a point where, I just realized sometimes you just have to let the work do the fucking work. And sometimes, like, forgetting that because I'm an entrepreneur, because I am my own boss, that I don't have to listen to a playbook. Sure, it's there. It's something that I can refer to and just reference, but it doesn't have to be dogmatic. It doesn't have to be the last word. It doesn't have to be something that I take as the Bible. It's not written in stone. And so I'm really encouraging myself to kind of just free fall and just do whatever the fuck I want, even if it doesn't make sense. And it's so funny because I'm always talking about, like, how can you be your most true, wild, authentic self that is, released from conditioning and programming and narratives and conditioning and every single thing that, everyone told you. And it's just literally showing up and sharing your truth. And I feel like there are certain areas where, we don't succeed in every single area of our life, right? That's just facts. Some days you're good in, like finances, and you suck at relationships. You're really good at play and adventure, or you suck at love, or you're really good at work and, you suck in relationships. So it's just, it's a balance. It's a balance of different things in your life. And, for me right now, it's really the intersection of spirituality and business, and doing something that I've never done before, and really learning to trust myself. Right. And so what I really encourage you to do is, there is an area of your life that you have excelled in. What is that area? For a lot of my clients, it's business. They are really amazing at their job, but they need help in, in relationships with other people, not just romantic relationships, but in relationships to family and friends, and relationships ultimately with themselves, because the relationship that you have with yourself extends to how you let others treat you and how you step up. And so ultimately it's like, am I looking to control a certain situation because I'm afraid of being accepted? And so maybe the anxiety comes out when I'm with other people. Or, maybe I have a fear of truly saying what it is that I want, because I felt like I was squashed as a kid because I just was told that I had to behave really well. And so there are all these things that kind of creep up and come up, when you start to realize and reflect and take inventory on the first generational household of, like, how you grew up. And once you start to realize that it's effects on you, you're like, oh shit, I didn't realize it, but I'm so grateful that I get to bring it to the conscious level and I get to work on it. And so for me, seeing how having a playbook was super helpful, because I just didn't want to make any mistakes. And how do I reframe that in a way of, wow, every single thing that I'm learning is helping me get better, and not see anything as a failure. Nothing is a failure. The only failure is not fucking trying. Honestly, I believe that wholeheartedly. And so it's, that's regret. That's being remiss if you didn't try something. And remember, one of my old bosses used to say, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. Right? Like, you'd rather miss it than just not do it. You can also, like, your ego actually blocks you and it hinders you from doing the things that you want to do. And so how do you navigate that and dismantle that? But anyways, so that was my whole thing about, just releasing the playbook, having fun, taking the pressure off things, enjoying the moment, being present with the moment, and just trusting. And so, I feel like I've reached a new spiritual level where I'm really starting to understand, can I be my true, authentic self out in the world? And it's really looking at, can I preach, or can I say when I preach, and act as if. And so it's it's being able to get a dose of your own medicine, but also understanding where you've been successful in your life. Can you look at that as reference to knowing that you are capable of those very things that you want, or just applying it to a different area of your life? And so those are the two things that I'm working on, of just not comparing myself to other people, action items I've taken, unfollowed a bunch of people on social media, and just throwing out the playbook, doing what feels right for me. Another example, especially, is, creating opportunity of, I wanted to create an opportunity for me. I really love teaching. I love teaching. I love group work. And I've always heard this thing of, oh, you can't actually teach or have a group program unless you're booked out with one-on-ones and you have a wait list. And, I really follow that. But if you follow that, you will be waiting maybe years even before you get to do that, before you get to do that opportunity. And so there's a will, there's a way. God can move mountains, the goddess can move mountains, but I got to bring the shovel. I got to create opportunities. And so I'm in this mindset of really embodying, because as women, we are the creatrixes, like we are creators. We have our womb, which is known as a stargate portal for manifestation. We bring actual souls into this world through our body. What makes me think that I can't energetically bring anything into this material world? If I have source with me, if I work with the elements, like I can create anything that I fucking want, and so can you. Like nothing is impossible. And a lot of, like, I've done Kundalini Kriyas for that, just so I can like work with my psyche and being able to unblock those thoughts that I have, and, work on my karma, work on my energetic karma. But anyways, it's just really, really seeing like, where can I create opportunity? And so I just heard a lot about, oh, you can't do that, you can't do this. And it's okay, if I listen to the playbook, I'm not going to fucking do it. And so I was like, you know what? I want to do it. I want to do this. I want to create community. And so I just created a community, and I'm working with it with, a small group of people. And I am just learning. I'm learning about it, how to do it, all of that stuff. What do I like? Because the thing is, you can't just sit there and wait for manifestation to happen, right? The goddess placed that vision into your head, into your heart, right? And it's up to you to use your hands and your body to actually create it and manifest it into this world, instead of just waiting for it to happen. And so, you were given this beautiful gift of your mind, of how to work with it, of how to be the master of it. And so I just decided to do it. And it's, oh, okay, I'm doing it. And it's great. And I have the courage to do it. And so just never, ever, ever underestimating my power. And I hope you never underestimate yours. And so this was super short, super sweet, but that's the way I look at New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals, all of that stuff. Although I did create different, different areas of growth of what I wanted for the wheel of life. I created something for physicality, relationships, love, play and adventure, work and finance, and all of that stuff. And so it's take what you like, leave the rest. And I hope that this episode serves you. And please let me know what you think. Drop it in the comments, either on Spotify, or you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, or you can DM me on Instagram. And I am accepting clients or mentees. I changed it to mentorship because I want to share my experience, right? I have a lot of wisdom to share. And so I want to be able to share my experience in a mentorship type of capacity. And so I changed it to a 6-month mentorship, one-on-one. It's bi-weekly 75-minute phone calls or Zoom sessions. You get access to that community I was talking about, the Sacred Film Alchemy community, full moon gatherings, on-demand coaching, surprise goodies. EFT tapping, all of that good stuff. So a lot of juicy, juicy stuff. And it's for the first gen women who want to step into their sacred feminine journey and just unleash the person that they are truly, truly at their souls for, right? I talk a lot about, or alluded to it, about growing up in a household where you felt like you were suppressed. And so how do you get that back? Right. And it's a different process of working with those lost parts of you. And it's really coming into this descent of who you are as a feminine woman. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I would love, love, love to guide you on it. And so I will leave a link in the show notes to book a discovery call. It's potent, right? Okay. Well, I hope this episode serves you, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.